Hello everyone. This is part two of my conversation with Dom Smith. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for the support. Have a good day. Stay safe. Bye bye.
After I've said I want you in bed. But you know what I mean? I'm talking about my heart, not any other muscle. Um, you know, but uh, it's not like we've got a cut out of your face or anything. Anyway, go on. Well, sorry, man, I went off topic, didn't I? But yeah, no, I think you've made it, is what I'm trying
Okay,
to say.
I'm gonna join you in the cheesy quotes and say if you don't play, you can't win. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. If you don't play, you can't win.
Have we got time for a couple more questions?
Yeah, man. Yeah, of course. Of course. I always it's nice because I get it's like a catch up with you. It's fine. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to cut out. I'm gonna have to cut out a lot of questions. I have to land because obviously we ran for a lot.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. We run through a lot of stuff. I love it. It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same if we didn't. So
So, going back to your first interview, yeah.
yeah.
So what was your strategy for that interview? Did you have question planned
Yeah.
like every
Yeah.
single thing?
Yeah. Right. So but it never like this is what I'm saying. The two ingredients for any young journalist, research, number one. Always do your research, whether you've got 10 minutes or 3 hours. Number two, don't, this is gonna sound like a this is gonna sound contradictory. Like just be yourself. Don't try and be somebody you're not. Like I said, there's a guy you could, he's one of the most famous rock stars in the world. A guy called Jerry Cantrell, and he played in a band called Alice in Chains. And he sat on one of my very first telephone interviews, and he said to me, you can't. I'm not going to do a terrible American accent. Remember he sold like millions of records, so I'm not trying to be a dick here. I'm just for atmosphere. He's like, you're kind of meandering, man. And I remember, and that's like burnt into my skull, right? But I'm still the same. I haven't changed my style, right? And then but I've had I've had like my people that I grew up loving, bands that I grew up loving, Incubus, Placebo, they've all said, what a great interview. I had, if anybody from WWE watches this, right, from WWE, right, I think I've told you about this, right, but I did an interview with Santos Escobar at the WWE, running back, and he like stopped them from stopping my interview because he was like, I want to answer this question. I want to answer this, from the heart. And that's the point. I'm not the best interviewer in the world, right? Far, far from it. I am meandering. I mean, come on. We've been going for like what? We've been talking for 2 hours, which I love, by the way. But I could have answered all these questions in like 30 seconds, right? But I haven't because this is who I am. And if I tried to change it, going back to your question, if I tried to change it, it wouldn't be me, right? So do your research and be yourself. And that's what I went into that interview with, right? I was super nervous. I planned all the questions, but the best laid plans never work out. So I've got a question, and then they'll talk about something deep or something that I want to pick up on, exactly like you do. I'm taking it out of the book of Anthony, right? You pick up on something they've said because you care about what they're saying. It doesn't matter if you've got 10 minutes or half an hour. You've got to pick up on that, man. If it's interesting, then it's going to be, if it's interesting to you as a journalist, then it's going to be interesting to the audience. So, like, yes, I went in there going, right, I'm going to plan this. I'm going to answer these generic questions. It's all going to be fine. Pick up the thing, get super nervous, start stuttering over my words. But then, then I'm like, I ask my questions, but then they say something real deep about the creation of the album that's about to come out. And I'm like, well, I could ask this question about, I don't know, what they do for dinner in the evening. Or I could be like, well, tell me about what it was like dealing with that difficult person at that difficult album recording. You see what I mean? So, it never works out exactly as planned. You can plan and plan your interviews as much as you want, and I absolutely encourage you to plan them, right? But acknowledge that it's not going to be like you're not going to get all those questions out because again, it might be timed. You're not gonna, don't ignore what someone's just said. If you've got 10 minutes, right? You got 5 minutes, right, with somebody like with WWE, you get like 5 minutes, right? You got to make an executive decision. This is the skill of, and I'm sure you've done this before. You've got your 20 questions written out. You got to decide which means more. You've got to decide. Your job is to decide what means something, what's going to get the most emotional response, what's going to mean the most to that person in the moment to give you a decent interview, give you a decent answer, and what's going to mean the most to your audience. And you've got to make that decision, right? I pride myself on if someone's got a press junket and someone's got a 50 interviews to do before they've done 50 interviews before me and they've done 50 interviews after me. I'm going to ask them questions that make them think, and I'm going to be one of the interviews, one of them. I'm not saying, but I'm going to be one of them that they remember at the end of the day. You know,
Yeah.
that's my goal always.
I mean this in the most respectful way possible. I'm doing it now. Because I had loads of questions planned, but obviously, as we normally do, we're just rambling and and just talking. So as you're talking, I'm making a mental note in my head what a question to cut off and what question to leave on my psychological list, so to speak.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm always happy to do a part two or part three with you, man. You just let me know, we could do this anytime. I'll catch up with you anytime you want.
So, so do you know when you did your first interview with all done it with all written up?
Yep.
Did anybody give you any constructive criticism?
Yeah, of course, man. Same as I still get now, you know, tighter questions. Like I talk to my interviewees, as you know, because a lot of it's recorded, like I'm talking to you now. And that's a privilege I get as usually obviously it's for my platform. I understand that. But when I was working for other people, obviously this one was for Soundsphere as well, this big one that I'm mentioning. But like when I've worked for other people, it's been tighten your questions up, uh, quicken your, don't waffle on quite so much. And that's okay because I try and take that on. But I used to do stuff for BBC. I used to be stuff for the BBC Radio in North Yorkshire. And for that, I had to do it because they've only got, it's the BBC. You've only got a certain time, right? So I got better at it then. But like, the reins are off on Soundsphere. The gloves are off. The the chaps are off. Whatever you want. I don't know. There's no restriction for me now. And I try not to put that on other people unless, like I say, usually the only other things are like spelling and grammar. Um, but yeah, man, like in answer to your question, it's always been the same. Stop waffling on, you know.
Because again, it's like finding that balance between obviously you want to keep a good pace, but you don't want to cut somebody off as they're telling a deep story.
That's the thing, man. It's different people have different rules, different people have different ways of doing things, and I get that. But you know what? Like, um, if I'm meandering and if I'm, whatever, then it's not exactly served me badly, has it? I've achieved my dreams multiple times over. I get to come on a podcast like this and talk to you. You want to listen to me for over an hour. So I think I'm doing all right. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm cool
Yeah,
with not everyone's going to like what I do. Not everyone's going to like what you do. You're not going to like what everybody does. I'm not going to like what everybody does. That's okay. That's all right. But at the end of the day, my meandering ways have served me all right. So I'm not going to say F you, Jerry Cantrell, because you're a world renowned rock star and you've sold millions more records than me. But I'm just going to say thank you for the motivation because I did it anyway. I did it anyway, in spite of being meandering. So
yeah.
cheers.
I, I know I know we can, I know we can laugh about it now, but at the time, when you were called Mirandering, did it affect you mentally?
Yeah, yeah, dude. Why do you think I remember it now? Like I can look back at it now. Like what was it? Like 2006 or 7 or whatever, something like that. I can look back at it now and laugh about it. But at the time I was like, "Oh my God, Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains just called me meandering. What the fuck?" You know, it's like, "Oh, my career is over. It's not even begun yet." You know, oh shit, you know, and people will look at that because Alice in Chains is a big deal. They would look at that and be like, why did you even carry on? Like, that's your, like, you know, gold standard telling you that you're meandering. So you might as well just stop. But I didn't because I'm stubborn and now I'm here on the Anthony podcast talking about it years later, laughing about it. So it didn't end up badly, did it? So we're okay. But yeah, dude, and this is what I'm saying. If I can get over Jerry Cantrell calling me meandering, right? Then I would say that anybody can get, you know, can just keep going, you know?
Did somebody did somebody sit you down and say, dude, it's fine, don't worry about it.
Oh, you know what? No. I had to sit myself down. I had to because I just kept doing stuff. I just kept doing stuff. Not everybody. This is the only sad thing about working in what I do, working what I do then versus now. Now I've got loads of journalist mates. Now I've got loads of people in the creative industries, and I think I spoke to my friends back in London from the internship, and they were like, "Oh, it happens." But like, I didn't have any like, because obviously I was, I'd come back to Yorkshire, but I didn't have anybody to like go and see. Obviously, like, my family, they're like really supportive, but they don't really understand it. Like, do you know what I mean? Because,
Yeah,
you know exactly what I mean, right?
yeah.
So like, yeah, I had to talk, and I still do that to this day. Like, when I get a rejection email, because they still happen loads, I just crack on. I'm like, I'm gonna keep doing stuff. I'm gonna try something else. I'm gonna have a new idea, and I would say that's partly the ADHD and the neurodivergence, but also part of just being a creative. Just keep on keep on trucking, keep on having new ideas. One thing doesn't work. Somebody says it's shit. Fine, whatever. That's their opinion. Try something else. Just don't be a dickhead again, and you'll be all right. You know.
Have, have you ever got a second chance to do that interview again or not?
No, no, I'm not. That's not to do with that's not to do with them. It's but if I ever got it, I would take it. If I ever get it, I'll take it. Yeah.
So, so you mentioned a couple of times your ADHD and I can never say
No, your
your,
neurodivergence, yeah.
so, and, how did that affect your interviews? Like, is it harder for you to concentrate on the person that you're talking to?
No, it's usually well, yes and no. It's usually I'm here with you. I've done it, I catch myself. Sometimes I click off the screen to check the time and I'm like straight back on it because because like you've got to be on it. Like if someone's giving you their time and energy, in a counseling setting and like this, and a lot of times they don't have to be there. Like these are, like you don't have to spend 2 hours with me or whatever. So I'm going to give you my attention. X, Y, and Z actor, one of my favorite actors I got to interview before we did Screensphere. The actual inspiration for Screensphere was because I got to interview my favorite actor in Hollywood at the moment, a guy called David Dasmalchian. And again, he does not need to give me his time. He's in Dune, he's in Suicide Squad, he's in all these blockbuster films, all the time. He's being booked in Hollywood all the time for these big roles. And so he doesn't need to give me his time, but he does. So I'm gonna be on it, and whether it's you know David Dasmalchian or the Anthony Talks podcast, I'm gonna be on it because you know you've got to be, it's one of the criticism that I do, not criticism. It's one of the things I do note with people. Like eye contact is difficult. It's difficult for me, you
Yeah,
know. But like one of the things when I watch certain content creators and they're doing this and they're fiddling about with shit, right? I'm like,
I
and I see it all the time. I'm like, and they're fucking sorry, they're typing. They're like, I don't know if this is gonna take. Hopefully, you can't.
yeah,
You
I know
like
it.
they're fucking. Yeah, they're fucking. I'm like, come on. And these are like people with millions of followers. I'm like, dude, like, fucking, what are you doing? Like, these are people you've probably seen as well as me. I'm like, come on, fucking spend use 10 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours, whatever. Like, you give that person, you make them feel special, important because they are, and they've given you their time, and it doesn't matter if it's, you know, you flipping whatever his face from down the street or whatever actor or whatever wrestler. The same rule applies. Someone's giving you their time, you give them your time.
You
That's
know,
just my thing.
you know, I can, I understand why. I understand why some people might fall into that. But if somebody did that to me, no matter who it was, I would be like, okay, I'm leaving because you're clearly not interested enough to actually pay attention to what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah,
As I say, I understand have some people struggle with eye contact than just doing audio inter, interviews.
yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. And I'll tell you something right now, right? I'll tell you something right now. I'm not a big believer in karma. I don't, I'm not all about, and I know we talked about fate earlier, right? But sometimes when these things have happened, right, to me, and I've, you know, given my time to somebody and they've sort of passed me over, right? And it happens. It's fine, business, whatever. But they're not doing much anymore. And I'm not trying to be a dick here. What I'm trying to say is it goes back to what we were talking about. Don't be a dickhead. Do what you want to the best of your ability, but there are particular people, and I'm not going to name names, but they're not doing what they were doing before for some reason. And it's probably because they were a dickhead to a bunch of people. So, you know, I'm not trying to say I'm like, me and you are right about everything. Or we're not, because we're not. But just give people your time, respect people's time. Don't be a dickhead. Do your research, and you can be a good journalist.
And I don't want to be that guy, yeah. But but because, because we've been through some hard stuff in our lives,
Yeah,
I think that can give us a bit of, I think that can give us an appreciation for what we do now. I don't
I
want to,
agree.
I don't want to be that guy if you know what I mean. But you know what I'm trying to say.
I do. I absolutely do. I absolutely do. As someone, you are unique in your space. And I'll tell you, I'll explain what I mean, right? You are unique in what you do. You've worked hard to get your channel to this level. There are people again, there are people with disabilities. There are people that talk to wrestlers. There are people that talk, but like what you're doing, you're having conversations, heartfelt conversations, right, with people that we watch in bed, you know, like I say, right? And that what
Can you please not say that? It's making me feel a bit weird there.
sorry, man. I'm only joking. Or am I? No, but my point I'm trying to make is like that's what matters. You've created something that matters to people, you know, and you believe in it and other people believe in it, and that's beautiful, man. That's a beautiful thing. And if you're what I was trying to say was like you're unique in your space, right? And I am always in these rooms, right? In these, when we do the WWE events, I'm the only guy with sticks that walks in there. I'm the only guy with cerebral palsy that has a limp that has, a scoliosis, that looks the way I do, that wobbles the way I do, right? I'm the only guy in those rooms that looks like me, right? And I work really hard to be there. And again, it goes back to what we're saying. Nobody else can take that away from me. So with this example, and I'm not going to name any names, but this person wants to pass me over. And I know they passed a bunch of other people over, right? And just kind of write me, just kind of, we do one thing together. You do one thing together, and that's it. And then you never, you just, oh, let's keep in touch. This is what I'm saying. Build meaningful connections. Don't bullshit people. Don't be like, oh yeah, let's do something together. Or let's connect. Right? Like, connect with people, show them that you care, and people will care about you. People will give you opportunities. Ask genuine questions, have meaningful conversations, right? Like, you see what I mean? Like, I'll finish up, but like, let's pull back the curtain a little bit, right? So we recorded this, and then we stopped the recording and we came back on, right? I have no issue doing that with you because I think you're an amazing person. I would spend, I mean, Emma's probably downstairs like, man, let's have some dinner. But the point I'm trying to make is I will spend till midnight with you because I like hanging out with you. Right, I know that you give a shit, and I give a shit about you. So I'll spend as much time as you want with me to ask to talk about stuff. I don't care that we've had to re-record it or whatever because it doesn't matter because I'm spending time with you. And you know that I care, and I'm not just here because I get to shout about all my stuff, right? I believe that you know that I care about you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah? Yeah. That's
sure.
that's the point. That's what I'm saying. We're mates, we care about each other, we'll help each other out. The example I'm giving you, right, does not do what they were doing before, and it's because they were a dick to a bunch of people, right? So what I'm trying to say is just yeah, that's my point. One more time, don't be a dick, and give a shit about people, and you'll get some opportunities. Doesn't matter if you're the best journalist in the world. You don't need to be. Just don't be a dick, and give a shit. Just give a shit.
I mean,
Do your research. Give a shit.
have we got time for three more questions?
Yeah, go on. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, so, so when you first started interviewing people, yeah, with the part of you at first that would just thinking, oh, the only reason why I'm here is because of my disability, or was it over that by that stage?
It was over that by that stage, man. It's a very good, very, very good question. Right. So I'll try not to waffle. I'll try not to meander. Right. But it's how I approach the rest of my life. Right. So, and this is just me. This is just me. Not everybody has to think like I do, of course. I've spoken to you about. Do you remember the WWE thing, right? And I
Yeah,
worked. Yeah, I've told you about that, right? I came out. And these guys were like, oh, they were pissed out their heads, and they were like, if we don't get a taxi before this slow, whatever, and they had no idea that I'd just been in working with the WWE, and they'd just paid X amount of money, and I'd gone for free. But yeah, this has a point that I'm making. If people think if people underestimate me out in the world when I leave my front door, and it happens all the time. I go to the gym because I've got arthritis, I've got scoliosis, I've got all these things that coexist with my cerebral palsy. So I need to exercise my body. I don't like it. I don't particularly want to do it, but I got to do it. Physiotherapy, etc. Now, when I go to the gym, right, my favorite thing is going up to a door and holding a door open for somebody and watching them lose their shit. They're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, let me get the door. They do that. They freak the fuck out, man, because they're like, holy shit, this person with a disability is holding the door for me. Whoa, what am I going to do? But that's the point. The point I'm trying to make is, and this is how I've always approached it. I'm not going to say it doesn't get to me sometimes when I'm out in public or someone sees me and Emma together and they're like, they make some kind of
Yeah,
stupid comment. It happens, right? But the fact of the matter is, like I touched on a little bit earlier, I've built a life for myself where I don't where I don't have to give as much of a shit because I've got so much stuff that fulfills me, right? I am going, if somebody wants to make an assumption and freak out over holding a door, or I might be doing like a walk with, because I gotta watch my balance, 'cause, with my sticks and stuff. I might be holding a weight or something and having a walk, and obviously I walk like I look like I look like I'm about 80, right? And I walk with at that sort of pace. So you get a lot of people like, oh, can I take that for you? Do you want some help? And I'm like, and I just say to them, no, you're okay. Thank you for the offer. You're all right. And that's how I approach a lot of life. Is like, if somebody wants to make that assumption, I can't stop them, right? I can't stop them for doing it. I can't, I don't want to get up on my high horse, right? Because you don't know what someone's going through. Like the other day there was a kid in a cafe. He had some neurodivergence, and he shouted at me and he was like, "What's wrong with your legs?" And I was like, "Oh, I've got poorly legs." And and we had this little conversation. And the point I'm saying is like, going back to your original question, sorry, is if I lived my life thinking, "Oh shit, have I only got this because of my disability?" I'd be like, oh well, I'm not very good. Oh, that must be it. I'm defined by my disability. I'm defined by my disability. Now, this is a wider question and a wider comment, and I'll be very, very brief. I do not define you by your disability. I define you by the quality of your work
yeah,
and what a good person you are. It doesn't matter to me that you're lying in a bed, the X, Y, and Z thing. It doesn't matter, right? Just like it doesn't matter to you that I have a disability and I do what I do, right? We can't stop what people out there think, but we can build a life that we're proud of, and that's what I try and do. And going back to your question, from the very earliest point. I did not care about whether they cared about my disability. They might make a comment now, and they might be saying, "Oh, you're really inspiring," right? I'm like, "Thank you," and then we crack on, right?
yeah,
Because it can't define us, man. If it defines us, then we're like, "Oh, well, I can't do this because I can't do this because." But then, if your disability defined you, you wouldn't be. You wouldn't have a YouTube channel, and you wouldn't be, you wouldn't have connected with people the way you do. You know what I mean? And it doesn't define me either. And it can't for me personally, and for you, I believe, and for Tom and for X, Y, and Z other people, if our disability defines us, if it's everything we are, then I would argue that we wouldn't have had the thought to put a glitch in the matrix. Sorry about the metaphor. The matrix wants us to be disabled, to be the cliche disabled person, not start a YouTube channel, not go to the gym, not be a journalist, X, Y, and Z. Yeah, but we are the glitch in the matrix, right? We have to be the glitch in the matrix. We have to be the difference so that other people, like those people that email you and ask you for advice, so that they see you and they go, I want to do that, right? And maybe some, again, I've told you about the. I'm going to be really quick. I've told you about the story about the guy in Germany, right? You may, if you've forgotten it, I'll tell you it again really
I
quickly.
don't remember that
Right,
stuff. No.
right. So it has a point. Um, I was in Germany. I played a gig with my band, the Parasitic Twins. We were on tour in Europe, and we were playing to like 50 people in a bar in Germany. And I come off stage, right? And this guy comes up to me and he says, "I've filmed your set on my phone, and I'm just checking with you that's okay." And I was like, "Yeah, cool. Why?" And he was like, "My wife is disabled, and she doesn't think she can do anything. She's into metal, but she doesn't think she can do anything. She wants to play drums. I'm a drummer." And she wants to, and I want to show her this video of you doing this. And I was like, holy, that's like one of my favorite moments of all time, because it goes back to what we're saying. If I define myself by my disability and what other people said I could do, you know, as you know, lots of people have told us we can't do this and we can't do that, then I wouldn't have done that, and I wouldn't have had that guy come up to me and say that to me, right? And so it goes back to that point, doesn't it? If I define myself by how other people saw me, then I wouldn't have done half the stuff I've done. I wouldn't have Emma. I wouldn't have our wonderful family environment. I wouldn't have our friendship because I'd have been like, oh, I'm not good enough to be on the Anthony podcast, you know, because you've had some pretty cool guests, right? But here I am because I believe in myself, because you believe in me. You see what I mean? Sorry,
Sorry,
that's it. That's it. That I'm done. I'm done. Sorry.
Daddy, just a quick one. So do you know when you said you won't look out your own man, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you like them? Do you like them jokes as as a coping mechanism, or are you just a witty guy?
No, it's funny. I've been offered, as you can imagine, as like a touring musician and in the culture. The one I do often, the joke I tell often is if someone offers me like like because I don't drink anymore. I used to drink quite heavily back in the day, like as most people do as students. And I've been offered a lot of drugs and things. And I usually just say, no, sorry, mate, I have enough trouble standing up as it is, right? And
Hmm?
that usually there you go, you see, you get it, right? And then but so going back to your question, no, a lot of people, well, most people, 99% of people are cool and they're just like, oh, good on you, mate. You know, you get the whole, oh, you're doing so well, as I'm sure you get. You know, you're doing so well. Oh, it's so good. Like, I'm gonna let people do their thing. Again, I can't change what other people think. Oh, you know, I can't start telling them what to think, rather. Maybe they see you or I on YouTube or whatever and they change their perception. That's cool, right? But I'm just going to do me. I'm going to do me to the best of my ability. And if people like it, great. If they don't, whatever. Do you know what I mean? You can like some of the people some of the time, but not all the people all the time. You know, I'm going to be, some people are going to be, they're going to dig what I do. Some people aren't. And that's all right, you know?
The reason why I say that is because I know people that will make jokes like their disabilities to
Yeah.
sort of protect themselves because they just think if I make the joke, nobody else can make the joke.
Yeah, no, no, good point. I've had plenty of the jokes, you know, and of course I have. It's just like it's all good, man. I mean, when I was a kid, I can't really remember how I approached it as a kid. I think probably I was, yeah. I don't know, probably I took it more personally, but certainly as an adult, you know, just like whatever, you know.
So my, la-
I'm
so,
always,
so my last question, because I really do have to go soon. So my last question.
yeah.
So what do you want your legacy to be?
I love this one. I love this one. That I wasn't a dickhead and that I helped some people out. Um, yeah, that'll do. There you go. That's my shortest answer. That I wasn't a dickhead and that I helped a few people out.
A
That'll,
quick,
that'll...
a quick. Did I you say yeah, at this point you know that you would know that you don't think that you're just here for your disability. What would you say to people that do think that?
I would say, yeah, great. Again, good question. I would say just keep going, man. Keep doing you, right? Because at the end of the day, the quality of your work will speak for itself, right? So people, a lot of people, man, more people than you would think have no idea I got a disability. Like, because maybe I do a lot. Obviously, I do a lot of work on the computer, so there's that. But like most people, like you know, people don't know because I don't define myself by it. Does that make sense? People give me interviews with big level artists, and they've never met me. They've worked with me in an inbox, you know, their inbox for like a decade, but they give me big level interviews with top artists, globally renowned, because I'm good at what I do. Yeah. Does that make sense? Like, because I'm good at what I do, not because of my disability. And I would say so what I would say to anybody else is figure out what you want to do and do that. And then it won't be about your disability anymore. It'll be about what you love. Absolutely. And the best way, and that will always be the case, you know, and I'm gonna going to be real with this is my opinion, but I believe some people will always look at disability and go, oh well, oh good person, whatever. They'll do the, you're doing so well, and the more videos you do, or the more I'm doing my thing, maybe we change a few of those opinions, but they'll always be there, right? It's a societal thing, generational thing, right? Could be down to your area where you live, how much disability is there, how much visibility it has. The other thing I would say to anybody is like, don't, if you get bogged down with that, if you start overthinking that, or what other people think of you. And I say this, obviously, I'm a lot older, so I appreciate it's different for me. But like, if you get bogged down with that, then you'll go nuts because all you'll think about is, oh, that person's thinking of me this way, or that person thinks of me like this, right? Find something you love, do it to the best of your ability, and use that as your vehicle. That as your vehicle to change people's perceptions, right? I know that people watch me on stage and they go, hell, that's cool, right? I'm not a particularly great drummer, but I love it, and people I know that I put on a good show for people. I carried a Paralympic flame for York ages ago, 2012, right? And I know that maybe that changed people's perceptions of what someone with a disability could do. I've had, I obviously I have an able-bodied partner. I know that changes perceptions of what people think. You know, just do and Soundsphere is unequivocally it's my baby. I love it with all my heart, and it has opened up the doors for me to do wonderful things like travel the world, like talk to you. So I'm just gonna just like I say to anybody else, I would say just find something that you love, that you believe in, and do that. And that will be your vehicle. That will be your thing that changes, that opens the door to change for other people. Because the more people, that goes back to what we are saying about figure out what your USP is, figure out what your project, how it helps other people. Because if you reach other people and then they tell their mates, and then they tell their family, and you see what I mean? Then it's not about your disability anymore. It's
Yeah,
about the quality. It's about the quality of what you do. Yeah.
yeah. So I think that's the best way to end it. So, do you want to promote your social media quickly?
Right. Well, yeah, we're going to be here for another hour. No, I'm kidding. Okay. So you can check out if you're into film and television. We most recently launched Screensphere, screensphere.co.uk, SCREENSPHERE, screensphere.co.uk. We've got Soundsphere. SOUNDSPHEREMAG.com, soundspheremag.com for all your music needs, for all that stuff. We've got WrestleSphere, Wrestle, WRESTLE, Sphere, SPHERE, WrestleSphere.com for all of your wrestling needs, interviews, because I know that you're a big wrestling person, with WWE superstars, TNA superstars, NWA. We've got them all. We've still got more to do, but we got some pretty cool stuff on there. Go and have a look. Yeah. Those will be the big three we'll promote today. There's more stuff, but we'll keep those. Go and check those out. And of course, support Anthony, support the Anthony Talks podcast. And like and subscribe, or whatever they say, whatever the kids say nowadays.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for joining us. And thank you for sitting here and supporting the channel. And yeah, hopefully you've got something out of it. You can contact me if you like, if you need any advice. And yeah, cheers.
So,
Oh yeah.
so thank you everyone for giving us a lot of your time, a lot of your time. If you'd like to follow me on social media, it's Anthony Talk number one. That's Anthony Talk number one on most platforms. On TikTok, it's just Anthony Talk, and obviously, and if you like this chat, give it a like. Please share it. If you're new to the channel, please click that subscribe button. So thank you for giving us some of your time. Have a good day. Stay safe. Bye bye.
Bye.